So in last class, so we have discussed Java Stream API. Okay, so if we have some collections, how to work with the Stream API and how to process the collection with Stream API, we have seen using some examples, filter, map, and reduce. Okay, so today's topics are different. Okay, so first we discuss the Enum part. Enum. So let me create new package to explain the Enum and importance of Enum. So package name is Enum. So Enum1, make it as Enum1. So if you want to, so first you have to know what is Enum. Okay. So why are you unmute yourself? Suppose if you are talking with some other one. Okay. So first you have to know what is Enum. Yeah. So what is Enum? What is the general meaning of Enum? Okay. So the general meaning, so if we compare with the general meaning, this topic, so it's like some type of explanation. Suppose if you are giving some explanation about something, that we call it as enumeration. Okay. So in Java, enum is nothing but this is set of constants. Okay, this talks about set of constants. Set of constant means, yeah, suppose if you want to create some constants, how you will create? How you will create? So let me take one example, enum example only. Class enum example. So if you want to create some final variable, okay, how you will create some final variable? So you use final and some int or string, some str equals to some value. Hello. So if you want to change this value in future, if you want to change this value in future, can we change? No, right? Because it is a constant. You cannot alter this constant. Suppose if you want to change some other value, if you want to provide some other value. So this one, let me make it a static to access in the main method. If you want to alter this, you cannot alter because it is a constant. Okay. So whenever you have constants like this, some constants you have to maintain. Okay. So suppose unique things, those we cannot change, right? Suppose if you take month names, week names, can we change those? We cannot change, right? So every year those repeats only. Month names and week names. Every day week name changes. Every month name changes. We cannot give the new name for the month. Okay, so those kind of things, those kind of things, we have to make it as final. For suppose if you take the bank transactions, the account types, okay, the account types like savings account, current account, retail account, okay, these will not change, right? The names will not change. The savings account always is savings account. So if you want to declare some values with constants, some group of values with constants, instead of using some variable, we can write our constants without using the variable. Okay, without using the variable, the value itself you will not change. That is the reason you can directly write your data without using the variable. Okay, but so without using the variable, if you want to write, it is possible for only string type of data, only for string type of data. Okay, so you cannot use it for other type of data. So without using the variable. So to do that, we have enumerators. Okay, so enums. So if you want to create the enum without using the variable, if you want to create the data, okay, you have option enum. Okay, so let me create weeks. Finish. So here you can simply write the names without using the variable. Okay, so what is the use then? Because so these values should not change anytime. These values should not change anytime. So that is the reason. If you try to change also, you cannot change. If you want to add new one, okay, it can add, but existing one you cannot change. Then what is the use? Usage I will explain. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, some set of constants, some set of constant data, final data. So if you want to access these constants, you can directly access in your class with the help of enum name. What is the enum name? So weeks is the enum name, and you can directly access that value. So let me print it. Okay, by default, all these are public and static. Public and static. Okay, enum only you have to write either it is public or default. But all these values are always public, static, final. You can directly access with the class name, which means enum name. If you print it, yes, it will print one day. You can use this value. Okay, similarly, you can access any value with the help of enum. But where we use this? But where we use this? Okay, so let me take bank transaction example. Okay, so as usual, that is easy to understand, and also we already started, right, using it. Okay, let me take bank transaction example. So where encapsulation? So here, so we have discussed bank transaction, right? Okay, so this is fine. So let me take this example. So with exception, we did exception handling also we have used, it seems. Exception handling, exceptions. So did I create any package for yes, we have. Okay. What I do is, so bank transactions, bank transaction error, Okay, these two I will copy to Enum, paste it. I have bank transactions. Let me run it. Okay, deposit. Okay, so we have used other class also to access bank transactions class. Copy it and paste to your Enum. Okay, so from transactions, if I run as Java application. Okay, so you put some conditions. Okay, it is working fine. So in bank transactions, okay, so here, so generally based on the type of account, you will have some limits, right? Withdrawal limit, deposit limits based on the transaction type. Based on the transaction type, you will have limits. Okay, let me put, yeah. So let me put some condition. Okay, so let me write switch condition here. Switch. Okay, switch what it accepts? Switch. Okay, it accepts string or any value. Okay, the match condition it will execute that we have seen in our previous class. Okay, so let me put two more conditions. Here, if my case is weeks, not weeks, let me create one enum, new enum name is account to type, account to type, finish. So what are all the types generally we can have? We can have savings underscore account, savings account we can have. Then current account, current account. We can have retail, retail underscore account. Okay, retail underscore account. So apart from these three, it should not accept other things. It should not accept other things. So what I do is in my bank transactions class. So along with the deposit amount, I also like accepting the enum. Okay, type of account. Okay, account to type, account type. Okay, so this one it is asking to import account to type, account. So this I pass it as a switch condition. Okay, if my case is account type of savings account, account type dot savings account. So this is public enum only. So in my bank transactions, what happened here? Replace with okay. So it's a very it is asking to, yeah, just put savings account. If it is savings account, do some. Which we cannot convert from string to account type. Okay, that is fine. Uh, yeah, savings account. If my transaction with current account or retailer account. Okay, so here you need to put the conditions. If it is savings account, if deposit amount less than or equals to 2 lakhs. Okay, deposit amount exceeds daily limit of savings account. Okay, if it is current account, then deposit amount you can make it as some 5 lakhs for current account. Deposit is less than 5 lakh. Similarly, you have retailer account some 10 lakhs. Yeah. Okay. So default not required, so you can break it. Okay. So even though you put default, nothing will happen. Okay. So default also just retain as it is. Okay. No need to write anything. You can simply leave it. By default, it expects the default. Okay. Similarly, so this is the similarly if you want to put it for your withdrawal. Okay. So withdrawal also if you want to do something, yes, you can do. Okay. What it is asking. So here also pass account type. So, okay, withdrawal amount here instead of. Okay, so let me copy all these to here. Okay, generally for savings account, the withdrawal limit per day will be some 50,000, right? Okay, so for that also you can put the condition. Okay, so here instead of throwing insufficient balance, okay, and also limits. For limit also you can put one more condition. The same condition I will put if less than or equals to what happened to z. So let me copy this condition. If withdrawal amount less than or equals to 50,000, do this operation. Okay, again inside it will check this condition. If it is more than that, so what it will do? So it will throw the bank transaction exception. Okay, so withdrawal amount exceeds daily limit of savings account. Please withdraw less than 50,000. Okay, similarly, you can have the same condition for your current account, but you will increase the limit, some 2 lakhs. Some 2 lakhs. If it is exceeds, then throw a exception. If withdrawal amount is greater than 2 lakhs, current account. So withdraw less than 2 lakhs. And also I will do for the retailer account. Retailer some 5 lakhs per day limit. And yeah, the condition if it not satisfying, so throw a error for retailer account and withdraw less than 5 lakhs. Okay, these are the conditions we have. Okay, So why this enum is required is, one second, why we are getting this error? Let me check. Syntax, insert one more. This is my if condition. Okay. So it should be closed here. Then my else block should start from here. Okay. Okay, I just put the conditions, switch condition. Okay, so I just put cases, savings account, current account, and retailer account. Why we need to use this enum here? Because except the savings account, current account, and retailer account, it should not accept any other values. Any other values. Because if I pass it as a string, I can also pass some other value, right? Suppose if I make it as a string, this account type, instead of taking this, if I pass it as a string, account type passing as a string. So let me, for withdrawal, let me put it as string. The difference I will let you know. So now in transactions class, okay, so first I want to deposit. Okay, for depositing, what you have to do, so you have to pass two parameters. One is account type and another one is deposit amount, right? So before depositing, so let me explain the why we need to take the yen. Okay, so let me take withdrawal for as example. Withdrawal. So withdrawal also, suppose you have someone like, let me withdraw 5,000, and also I need to provide the account type. Okay, in ATMs it will ask which type of account, right? When you are trying to withdraw amount, savings or other account. Similarly, so here I want to pass savings account. Savings account. So if I run it, what happens? What happens? So let me print the check balance also. Check balance. See, you withdraw, you are trying to withdraw 5K. Okay, no action is performing. No action is performing. And no message is printing. Balance it is showing as 1 lakh. Suppose we given the name as savings, some account, right? Account. So if I pass this, if I pass savings account, VINGS, okay. So what is the, go to bank transactions. Savings account. Copy as it is. Okay, savings underscore account. Here we passed as savings underscore account. So that is the reason it is not performing any action. So let me put it as savings account. So now we are getting 95K. Suppose by mistake if you pass like this, it will not perform the action. So how we can control this? So whenever we pass this data, okay, so it is not accepting. If you provide the incorrect string, it is not performing this action. So by mistake in future, we might pass this value, right? Okay. So some hackers will do, they might be do. Okay, so they try to insert some irrelevant data and they will try to hack in that way. But how we can control this? How we can control this? So whenever I pass the string, it should not take the other string like this. It should not accept the other string. Then how I can take that? Okay, in this case, Enum will help us to do the proper action. Okay, so if you go to your bank transactions, so let's make this as Enum account type. Okay, so if you want to pass Enum, so you should not pass it as strings. You should not pass it as strings. Okay, so go to transactions class. So here, see, when I pass string savings account, see, it is not taking, because you should not pass it as a string now. Okay, it should not accept. So whatever the enum you created, okay, from there only it will take the values. In future, if something is happened, okay, so you will directly go to that enum place and you will start doing the modification. So here, instead of passing some string values, irrelevant string values, whenever you put the switch condition, some string checking, when you pass some irrelevant string value, the action is performing. Okay, the action is performing, it is calling the method, but inside that method, it is not performing the operation, right? So here I don't want to allow that operation at all if I pass the irrelevant string. How we can do? So using enums we can do. So enum we already created account to type dot savings account. So if you use this, it will allow you. Suppose if you miss some spelling mistake here, it won't accept. Okay, like that, if you want to make sure your transaction with your options, so you have to use this Enum. Suppose if I do, so it will give 95,000. Similarly, deposit, let's take deposit. Okay, here also deposit something. Okay, deposit. Let me account to type. Which account? It is a savings account. Okay, do transaction. It will throw error. Say limit only 2 lakhs for deposit. Okay, so let me make it as some 50,000. So it will perform the action. 50,000 if you do. Okay, so here again it is. Now let me check. See, okay, so generally when we pass the data as a string, so sometimes we might pass as a incorrect data. Instead of that, if you use the enums, okay, your transactions won't fail. Okay, this takes the as this data in the compile time only, it will give you the error, so that in future in runtime when application is running, you will not get the errors. Okay, got it? Why we use enums? Just set of constants instead of writing providing variable again. If you give the variable again, what happens? You will get a chance to modify the data. So that is the reason we are using variable, right? The name itself is giving variable means it changes. Variable. Without using a variable, you cannot change the data. It is final. Okay, so let me go to day 6 nodes. Day 6 class nodes. Day 5 is there. Day 4 also. Okay, yeah. So day 1. Okay. So I hope I have covered all these things till now. Okay. We created instance data types variables, static data and static data variables, instance method with logic and without logic. Abstract methods we have written. Okay, static methods with logic we have created. Instance methods without logic with name. With logic without name, lambda expression. we have covered. Local variables we have covered. We have covered inner classes. Anonymous class and static block also we have covered. So inner interfaces, these are, if you want to create the same approach, how you use it for the classes, the same approach you will do. Okay, for this, nothing will change. Okay, all these we have covered, right? So interface variables, static by default, all are public static final. Methods without name, methods with logic, without logic, with logic. If you want to create the inner classes, the same way, there will be no change. Okay. Again, enum, static variables without name. Okay, so if you want to create with name, that is also possible in the enum, but generally we won't favor that. Int a equals to 1. Okay, so here why it is showing the error. Let me, yeah, you can also create normal variable. Generally we won't favor that. No usage, no meaning of enum, it's not required. Methods also you can create, but the purpose is to define the set of constants, so that in future if you use these enums, you cannot use the wrong values. Okay, so this is about enum. So now, any doubts in enum? Anyone? Are you able to understand that the purpose of enum? Say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. So now, so till here we have covered Java basic topics. We have few more concepts, few more topics. Okay. So we are pending with Java IO package, input output operations. Suppose if your so till now we discussed, okay, if your data is already available in Java file, that we have processed. If your data is available in external files like Notepad, Excel, database, or some CSV file, JSON file, XML file, if your data is available in those kind of files, video file or audio file, how you will process? Okay, to do that, we have Java IO package, input output operations. Okay, so before moving to input output operations, we have very like small topics. One is reflection, Java reflection. Okay, let me create package reflection package. This is reflection. Okay, so let me create one new class to explain reflection. Reflection example. Okay, so let me take from encapsulation arithmetic operations class. I will take here, not this one. This is something else. Arithmetic operations, wherever I use inheritance. Where is inheritance? Yeah, calculator. We have some. Okay, so this is very good example. We can take calculator. So in reflection package, I'm copying the calculator class. So let me put some. So all these are, what are these? Default methods. For one method, I will put it as private. Private. Okay. So let it be. Let it. So these are the arithmetic operation logics. Okay, you have So now in reflection package, so generally what is reflection? Okay, so reflection is nothing but if there is a class, okay, if you want to see that class information, reflection of that class. See, so general, if you take general meaning, what is reflection? Suppose if you seeing your face in your some mirror, your face will be appeared in the mirror, right? So that is your reflection, right? So similarly, suppose there is a class, so that class information you have to take, that reflection of class you want to access. You can create a reflection of class, basically. Some there is a class, so mirror will create your reflection, right? Suppose if you want to create class reflection, how you can create? So we have a reflection package using which we can create the class reflection. Okay, we can see that class reflection with the help of reflection package. Okay, do not confuse. It's very simple. Okay, so whenever you see in your face in your mirror, you can see your face, but that is you only. Okay, that is not some other duplicate, right? So you will not create any duplicate class to perform the reflection. You just see that and you will comb your hair. Okay, you will put some powder on your face like that, right? Similarly, we create the reflection, so we will not create any duplicate class, just we access the information. Okay, how to do that? It's very simple. So here we have calculator class. So I want to know what are all the methods available in calculator class, how we can do that. It's very simple. Calculator dot get calculator dot we have one method. So not this one. So we have a calculator class from the reflection package. We should have one method. 1 second. So let me remove this. We should have one method. Class. Class is a class dot for name. Class dot for name. Okay, so here it is accepting class name. Which name? Calculator class dot class. Method for name also it is not accepting. Class dot so let me check once in Google. So Google also not required. So let me check in my previous classes. So this is Selenium Java. Okay, so here, yeah, so here I have reflection. I forgot that method. Yeah, so basically I forgot this method. Yes. Okay. So we have calculator class. Okay, it is a dot class. So if you want to get the class information, so method information, we have get methods. Get methods. If you want to get methods information, what are all the methods available in this class? If you want to check, you have get methods method. So suppose if you want to store these methods, whenever we say get method means we can have more than one method, right? If you have more than one method, we can store that into either list, either collection, primitive collection, or non-primitive collection. So basically it returns array collection. Okay, get methods. If you observe here, it is returning method array of methods. Okay, you can store into method array all calculator methods. Calculator methods. Okay, so this method is available in the reflection package. You need to import java.lang.reflect package. So if you want to print each method name, simply you can write a for loop, enhanced for loop you can write. Okay, from all methods you are accessing each method. So if you want to print the each method name, simply you can print dot get name. So let me run it. Okay, still it is showing only default methods. Okay. So here the problem is, okay, so here only the public methods only by default it fetches. Or suppose if I go to calculator, so let me make it as public. Your method should be public if you want to access through the reflection API. So private methods, default methods, and protected methods you cannot access. Protected also you might access, but let's see. So let me run reflection example class again. So run as Java application. See now subtraction it is giving access, multiplication and addition. All these are, what are all these methods? Wait equals toString hash code, notify all. What are all these? You have only three methods. One is private method, that is fine. What are all these? Okay. So by default, all your classes, whenever you create a class, all your classes extended by default, extended by object class. Okay, by default. So that is the reason in object class, if you want to assign any object, any class object, you can directly assign because it is a parent class for all your classes in Java, not only user defined. Okay, for all your collections, for all your primitive data types, by default it extends object class. In this object class we have these methods: wait equals toString hash code and get class, notify all methods. Okay, so when you extend some parent class, you can directly access that parent class methods, right? So that is the reason it is printing these methods. If you go to object class, you can see all these methods, wait, notify, all these methods. Equals method is there. See, equals, clone. Did we get clone? This is protected method. That is the reason it is not giving the access. Okay, equal method is a public. Okay, similarly you can see wait toString method is also a public, and also notify. We are getting notify also public. Notify all. We already got wait. There are three waits, public waits 2 and 3. Okay, all these you got. Remaining other are, this is finalized method also protected. Okay, so by default, all your classes, whatever you create, either default, either collection class, whatever you create, so all those are extended by object class. So no need to explicitly specify this. Okay, even though you specify or don't specify, you are able to store the object class. Generally, if you don't specify, if you don't extend, you cannot directly assign. You cannot directly assign some other class object to some other class, some another class, right? If there is any relation, then only you can assign. So here, even though you are not specifying the extents, you are able to store. Okay, now, so you are able to access these methods. Suppose if you want to execute the methods, okay, whenever you want to execute the methods, first you have to allocate the memory for those methods, then only you can access, right? Suppose if you want to execute the methods through reflection API, what you have to do is, so you have to create the object for your calculator class. So you might think that, okay, so we are already creating the object, right? We can directly access the method, right? This object dot some method. Okay, so the advantage you will get to know in the framework implementation. In the framework implementation, you will get to know the implementation. You can create multiple objects and you can check whether this method is available or not. So now what I do is I use the same for loop. So here I write some condition. If so we have dot. So to check whether it is okay, let me take the reference from here. So to check get name equals to edition, this is fine. This is not required. We have one method to check in the object. Okay, what I do is suppose, so you have addition method in calculator class, right? So if you pass some other method, it won't execute, right? It won't execute. So now if you want to execute your method, okay, suppose if your method dot get name dot get name dot equals edition. I want to execute that method. So if you want to execute that method, so you can use that method dot invoke. Okay, here you need to pass the method object. Which method object? This addition method object. So this addition method is available in this calc object. And parameters you have to pass through the object array only. Okay, so let me create one object array values. I want to do sum of 30, 40. So here you can pass values. So here it is throwing some exception by default. Your compiler throws some exception. What is this exception? You add throws declaration. So some illegal access. You are illegally accessing some class information. That is the reason it is throwing illegal access exception. Sometimes illegal arguments also you will pass. Okay, sometimes you will pass more than one. That time you might get a exception. That also you have to take care initially. Invocation target. Sometimes this method may not available. That time you directly hit that method, it will give you the error, runtime error. So that is the reason it is giving all these three exceptions. Okay, for all these four exceptions, what is the parent class? It is an exception. You can directly handle with exception class. Okay, so let me run what happens. See, you are getting the result. You are not directly calling with the object, but you are invoking that method. Suppose if I pass edition 1, let's see, it won't execute. But because this method is not available. In the keyword driven development framework, it will be available because all the method names we pass from the external files, Excel files in the keyword driven data framework. So there we create number of objects. In each and every object, this particular method is available or not. We will check. If it is available, execute from that object. Okay, so let me create one more class, new calculator 2. So let me create modular division, public int mod division. It accepts two values. It returns result, return a modular b, and also I will print the result here itself, a percentile b. Okay, so go to reflection package. So let me create. So here, okay, so I have a method array. So I have taken it from this calculator class. And these methods, I will create one more method array. Let me create object of calculator class. Calculator 1 class. Okay, so I think the name I given as wrong here. Calculator 2. Okay. Else. Okay, here I will put the method name as modular division. Mod division. If you run it, will it work? No, because modular division is not available. In else condition, what you can do? Else if, again, put this condition, the same condition. Okay, invoke with the calculator object 2. Mod division only, right? Is it public method or not? Calculator 2, values are fine. Okay, so it comes to get name. Oh my god, okay. So again, if you use get name, what happens is it takes the next name. Okay, so from here it will skip. No, it won't skip. So what I do is here method name string method name equals to each method. So my method name equals to modular division. Okay, let me run it. Still it is not calling this calculator 2 method. Let's go to calculator 2. It is a public method only, modular division only. Output also we are printing. So what happened here? So here each method, okay, from the okay. So here the modular division name is not available. Here modular division name is not available in the calculator class methods. Okay, what I do is I don't put this condition. Just in else condition, I will call method modular division. Okay, modular division. So from where I can get that modular division? It is available in the calculator 2 class. Okay, so here what I can do is calculator 2 dot get declare method. Calculator 2 dot class dot get declared method. Get declared method. Okay, so method name is modular division. You can pass. If you want to invoke this method, this entire thing, it will give you a method. Dot invoke calculator 2 object and also values. Let's see. No such method exception. Why this no such method exception? Get declared method mod division only. Modular division only. Okay, so let me see the class it is asking. So calculator 2 class only. Why we have to again specify that? Still we are getting method modular division is not available. Get declared method mod division only. Okay, so let me take the previous class example. So get declared method only. Yes. Yes. Okay, what I do is the same example I take. So this one, the method. But nothing will change even though we write like this. So let me try again. No, no such method. No such method generally we get. This is modular division, right? Calculator 2. So this method is available. Calculator 2, that is fine. So calculator 2. Yes. Calculator 2 class. So what happened then? This is also we have get declared method only. But why still it is not triggering this? It has to trigger modular division, but here in line number 27, okay, it is showing that get declared method. It is not available like that. It is showing something is missing. Calculator 2 dot class, then get method. So let me try in this way. Still it is not accepting. So how many parameters it is accepting? One is name and also class parameter types. A run method object that reflects the specified public member method of a class or interface represented by the name parameter is a string and class object. So the class object is not required basically. So how we are accessing the calculator methods? The similar way we can directly access from the calculator 2 also. Here we are taking all methods. Here we are taking only one method. Okay. So here what I do is this is method. Okay, let me print method name. Dot. So in line number 27 only we are getting the issue. So let's see. Get name. So I think we are getting the issue at line number 27. What I do is, so let me take methods array, take all methods, get methods. So let me write the same for loop. Here. Is equals to modular division. Okay, it has to do it from the methods to method names to. Okay, this is fine. If it is modular division, then print the name. So let's see whether it is printing that modular division to. Errors are there. Why errors? So we have copied extra parentheses. Huh? Okay. So we have subtraction, addition, multiplication, but modular division it is not showing. So this method is available in calculator 2, right? Public method only, modular division only. So let me go here and let's check.
Maybe in first if condition also given modular division. Second if else also modular division.
No, no, no.
That is fine. Huh?
So here in this class, we don't have modular division. It should come to else condition. In this case, what we have to do? Debug. Okay, so let me debug it. See, so it comes to here. But before that, why it is executed everything? Okay, in this for loop, it is printed all the names. So now I'm checking for the modular division. Okay, so here, okay. Okay, so the method name now subtraction from the see again from like all methods it is checking. Okay, so what I do is okay, not modular division equals to not modular division. Okay, what we can do is here. So in the first time only. Okay, so let me check here. So now I'm taking all methods. Okay, so here I'm taking first method name. So here it is method one. Method one is changed to again subtraction. Why we are getting subtraction here? We should not get the subtraction from the calculator 2 class. So here I'm using each method, right? So that is the reason this is showing the issue. Here I need to use each method one dot get name. Okay, so let me directly run it. So modular division like that it is printing. Modular division like that it is printing. Why it is printing these many times? Okay, this for loop. Okay, this for loop is keep on running, right? One by one method it is keep on running. That is the reason we are getting that. Okay, if it is not available in the else condition, okay, once we done with this looping, what we have to do? We have to exit the for loop, exit for or break. So modular division is there. If you want to invoke it, yes, you can invoke using invoke method. So here you have to invoke the method one, not method one, each method one dot invoke. This is calc2. Then it will cause the modular division. Okay, so 30 by 40. 30 by 40. When we pass 30 modular 40, how much we are getting? It is giving the 30. So let me check in the calculator once whether we are getting proper result or not. So percentile 40. We are getting 40. 30 with 40, if we do 30 of 40. We are getting 40 here. Why it is printing 30? So go to the method division. So A and B values only we are passing. So we are passing A comma B, 30 and 40 in the reflection package. Okay, let me take as 10 and 3. Whether we are getting 1 or not, let's see. So here it is giving 1, but when I pass 30, 40, it is giving 30. Remainder we get 31, you know. Okay, so these calculations we see later. Yeah. So if you want to access the methods, so so here we create the object. If you want to execute the method, you can create the object. But before executing the methods, if you want to know the class information, you can create a reflection of class. From the reflection of class, you can access one by one method information. One by one method information. So and one more advantage with the reflection API is generally we cannot access the private methods in other class, right? Within this class only we can access the private methods. Okay, but I want to access this division method, private method. Can I access in other class? Yes, using reflection API, you can access the private method also. Okay, it is a interview question for Java developers. Private methods can we write unit test cases for private methods? That is the question for Java developers. Using reflection API, you can access. What I do is, so this here that class get declared method get declared method. So method name we have to pass here. What is the method name? The private method name. Division, right? So pass the division. This is the method. Method division equals to. If you want to execute this method, private method you cannot execute directly. Private method you cannot execute directly. Suppose if you write invoke calc1 object. Okay, so it cannot execute directly. So you are getting no such method exception. Why we are getting this always? So let me go here, private methods. Yeah, get declared method using. Okay, it might be throwing the error due to the private. Okay, so if you want to like make it as public through reflection API, so we have one method set accessible. Okay, so our division method set accessible to true. If you make it as visible to outside of your class, you might access. Still you are getting no such element, no such method exception. So we should not get this. Why we are getting calculated.class? Yeah, the same approach I'm following. Method calculations class. Okay. Arguments, if you have some private, those also you can make it as private. It should work, but something is happening. Here also it won't work. It didn't work. Get a declared method only. The syntax is correct only. So from the calculation object only we are performing this. So let me take like this. Set accessible object, boolean flag. Why it is showing error? No. This method set accessible object array. In this type, accessible object is not available for arguments object. Okay. So it is asking to remove this. Basically, it has to work for this notation. But some in backend something like I was missing. I need to check that. So see, so if you want to call the private methods, so you can directly call with the reflection API. Basically, we cannot call private methods directly using object also. Okay, using object also we cannot call the division method, but using reflection API we can do. So division, if you type, it won't show anything, but using reflection API we can do. But something is missing here. Okay, that I will check and I will explain tomorrow. Get a declared method division. That is fine.
I think that get declaration method, it will accept two parameters, I think.
No, one also it will accept.
One
Otherwise,
also.
you directly get the compilation
Yeah,
error.
okay.
One also it accepts. So something is missing here. Get a declared method. The same syntax I have used in the previous classes. See, if you observe here, okay, the same syntax it worked earlier. It worked earlier. Now it is not working. Okay, what I do is, let me do one thing. The empty array we can declare like this, empty array, but you cannot assign the values later. Okay, go to calculator, so remove these two arguments. Let's return the hard-coded values, 10 by 3. Let's try in this way. In both the ways it should work, but so let's try in this way. So run as Java application. No, illegal arguments. Okay, sorry, values 2 let me put. So when we don't have the arguments, that time we are able to access. If we have the arguments, okay, so here it is working if we have the arguments, but something is missing here when we have the arguments. See, private method is working, and it is executed now. So value are getting 3. So let me put some print statement division. Private method. Division private method. So you are able to call, but something is missing here that I have to check. Okay, that I will let you know whenever we have arguments. So arguments we have, let me make it as public. So here we cannot use public. Okay. So whenever we have arguments, it is not executing, but here it is executed. That I will check and I will let you know. Okay. So reflection you can create, class reflection you can create, and that information you can access. Okay. So now we have one more small topic. Once we're done with that, I will stop our session for today. So tomorrow we'll discuss IO streams. Okay, so I was talking about annotations, right, in the previous class. Annotations. Let me create one package, annotation. Okay, so basically the meaning of annotation. Okay, if something is important, generally in our school days also, we use it to put stars, important point, star, or underline. These things we do, right, in the school days or college days. Similarly, if something is important, okay, some important information, okay, you have to grab. In that case, so you have to some important information if you want to grab or if you want to pass. In that case, we have to create the annotations. So we already using annotations like, so if you go to inheritance, so here also we are using some annotations. Okay, in your child class, see override annotation. So it will do something. Okay, when you use this annotation, so something is some importance is there with this method. Okay, so and also when we create functional interfaces, in the functional interfaces also we are using at the rate functional interface, which means something specialty is there with this method. Some important thing is there with this method. So similarly, if you want to make some class or make some method or make some parameter, okay, some important parameter or important method or important class, so you can also put some annotations. Okay, this is an important class. This is important method. So your compiler can understand that, okay, for this method or for this class or for this variable, so this particular information should be captured. Whatever the underline we do, right? Whatever the point we start, right? So similarly, the information we should pass to that annotation. Okay, you might pass or may not pass. Sometimes we pass and sometimes we may not pass. Okay, for example, so in the annotation class only, let me create, let me copy this calculator class from the reflection package. Copy, copy, and paste here. Okay, you have some methods, some private methods and all. Okay, so generally, if you are not satisfying with the existing methods, what you will do is you will extend your class to some other class. Okay, you will start overriding the methods. Okay, suppose if you are not satisfying the existing addition method, what you will do is you will create the same method and you will write some new logic plus 10 you are adding for suppose plus 10. So let me create the object for annotation class. Okay, when you call annotation example dot addition method, pass 30 comma 20. So the return it should print how much it has to print when I pass 30 comma 20 as per my new logic. As per my new logic, so it has to print 30 plus 20, 50 plus 10 also I'm adding here, 60 it has to be printed. 60 it is printing, fine. Suppose, so your thought is, why you are extending this calculator class to override the addition method? By mistake, you return the method name as addition. But your compiler is not giving any error here because in your parent class, addition method is available. Your intention to override the addition method. But while you are typing, by mistake, instead of copying, you have typed it. There is a typo error. But when you call, still it is calling the previous logic. But you have to call the new logic. Then how can I overcome this from this, like avoiding these mistakes? Okay. So here, this is important for me. So it has to be override the existing method. Okay. If you want to put some annotation, it is an important one. You can put at the rate override. Okay, but when you are overriding, your compiler knows that when you use override, you are trying to override the previous class, your super class method, but it is not available. This method is not available. How you will override? Your compiler only, it will giving you the error. So that while writing your program, you can identify the errors, you can rectify it. You can check the method name. Okay, some spelling mistake is there, you will correct it. So now it always calls the new logic. Otherwise, if you do some spelling mistakes, it will cause the old logic. That is not your expectation. Okay, similarly, so if you want to create your own annotation, like override, like functional interface, like suppressor warnings, like that we have so many default annotations. You can also create your own annotation. If you want to pass some arguments to the annotation, that is also you can do. Okay, how we can do that? So all annotations are interfaces, which means you will have only abstract methods. Okay, suppose if you want to create an annotation, go to new. So you will have direct option like class enum interface. You will also have the annotation type. But this annotation type is a interface, like interface only. So that is the reason annotation is some my annotation. My annotation. Okay, here it is asking what type of annotation it is. Okay, so we have different types of annotations: compiler time, runtime annotation, method level, field level, class level. Okay, first I create type, which means class level annotation. Okay, so retention is runtime, put the runtime, and the target is type, finish. This is my annotation. Okay, so now suppose if you want to make some class, your class, the annotation example class, at the rate my annotation, yes, we can use. If somebody wants to use or do one thing, so in your calculator class, I will put it as a my annotation. Okay. If somebody wants to use your calculator class, okay. So here what I do is basically to perform calculator operations, I require two values, right? I require two values. I require two values. So here, if you want to pass those values, those also you can pass. Okay. So if you want to make it as mandatory, so to use this annotation calculator class to your annotation example, okay, if you want to make this as this class as you should use the annotation for your child class. You can use, we have one more default inherited. We have one more default annotation inherited. It is why it is not showing inherited. Inherited annotation we should have created and inherited annotation. No, not this one. So whenever you are extending this class, okay, so from this class, you are extending some to some other class, annotation example class. If you make it as the mandatory one, mandatory field like this, okay, it is optional as of now because we put at the runtime. You can also use inherited annotation that I will explain later. So here, from this main class, from this calculator class, suppose if you want to access, if you want to access some values, okay, you can create parameterized annotation. So here, what you can do is public, okay, two values, value one and value two, public. So here you can return any value, value one, public int value 2, you can write. These values you can read it from the annotation, okay, in your calculator class. So here you have to pass those values. Value 1, you can mention it as 100, and value 2, you can mention it as 200. Like this. Okay, these values you can read from the annotation level and you can use it in your program. Okay, if you want to use this annotation, okay, from here also you can access. Here you have to use the reflection API to get the annotation information. Okay, so we already created annotation example dot get class dot, we have get annotation. So here the annotation class you have to use my annotation. My annotation dot class. Okay, it will return the object of my annotation class only. So now using which you can call those methods. Value 1 method, value 2 method. Okay, so let me print it, these values. Some important information you have to mandatorily pass. In that case, you have to use the annotation. Value 2. So whenever some important properties you have for the class, those important properties, if you want to know null pointer exception here, like yesterday, annotation example dot get class, this is fine. So go to your calculator class. So let me use, okay, your calculator class only you will create the object. Let me create the object for calculator class, and let's see whether we are able to access or not. Yeah, see, we are getting 100 and 200. So here it is not inherited one, it is unable to access. Okay, suppose if so generally properties you write in the global variables, right? Suppose if there are some mandatory fields you have to pass to your class for usage, in that case what we have to do is we have to go with the annotation. So here if you want to use this class, these are the mandatory properties you should have. Apart from that, you can have some more, but these two values you should pass to the class to work with this class. Okay, similarly what you can do is, let me create one more annotation, method annotation. You can pass this method annotation in a method level. So here you have to choose the method, finish. This is my method annotation. Okay, for suppose for some method, if you want to pass some values, mandatory fields you need to pass. Okay, so in that case you can put the annotation and also like calculator, so you can pass argument 1 and argument 2. So here no, so not like this. What I have to do is, here I have to create. So in the my annotation, from my annotation, so here in method annotation, this is not required now. 1 and arg2. Okay, if you want to use some method with some default parameters, with default values, in that case, if you want to make that method as a important method or some annotation, so if you want to use this method along with your data, you should also pass these values. Okay, in calculator for division or subtraction, I will use this method. Here, pass argument 1 equals to 1000 and argument 2 equals to 2000. Okay, when you use this subtraction method in your class, okay, you can use normally only, but if you want to access that method related annotation data, that also you can access. Okay, you already created annotation example. So here, if you want to get the method, get declared method, annotation example, okay, not this, calculator dot class dot get declared method, pass the method name. What is the method you are accessing? Subtraction, right? Dot get method annotation. Dot get annotation. You can use get annotation. So again, class will be your annotation class. What is your annotation class? This is method annotation class. So in your annotation example, dot class, and you can assign it to the same object. So here we need to, whenever we are using reflection, it will throw some default exceptions. No such method exception also you will get. So whenever you access some annotation, method level or class level or field level, okay, that method should be public. Otherwise you can't access. Okay, method should be public. Field also should be public. Now from the method annotation, you can access the arguments. So here from the method annotation, argument 1 and argument 2, you can access. So let me run it. So no such method exception. So here why I always getting no such method exception, no such method exception. We should not get that issue. So earlier also we are getting. So is it a subtraction is a public method or not? Yes, it is clearly public. So do we need to pass these arguments? So if suppose if I remove, okay, what I do is I will create the subtraction method only, but I remove the annotation here. Let's see. If there are arguments, I think it is not allowing. For arguments also we have to make it as public, it seems. Okay, so here some 30, 40, 50 minus 40. So let's run this by annotation. Yeah, so whenever we have arguments, so yeah, so I think in the get declared method, string, class, and parameter types. Parameter types also we have to pass up. Parameter types. Okay, let me check. Parameter types also we have to pass. Int. So let me try here. No. No, it is not taking. So name of the method and dot parameter types we have to put up. Let me check like this. Dot. Okay, this I will check. So in the reflection also we got the same issue. This I will check and I will let you know. Okay, so method level also you can put the parameters and you can access. So one more last thing. So if you want to create field level annotation, field level, field annotation, field level also, field level also you can put the annotation. Okay, let me make it as field. So in calculator only, I will put some default fields. So value should be public first of all. Okay, whatever the field you want to annotate, that field should be public. And public string some annotated string, some annotated string. You can put like this. If you want to use field level annotation, yes, you can use. If you want to pass some arguments to fields, yes, you can pass field 1 and field 2. Okay, so these fields, this field annotation, you can use it for your field here at the rate field annotation. So pass some fields. Field 1 equals to some value. Field 2 equals to some value. I want to return it as string 1 and string 2. Instead of int, I will put as a string. So this is also string. So in calculator class, field 2.
It should be 1, 2, field 1, 2.
Okay.
Field 1, second one should be 1, 2, or else.
Okay. So yeah. Okay, so field some hello. Field 1. So let's make it as Java. Okay, so for accessing the fields also, okay, so through reflection API we can do same thing. Declaration.class get field field name. What is your field name in your calculator class? So this is the annotated string is the field name. So you can specify that. Okay, so from here I want to get the annotations. The annotations of which class? Field annotation class. FIELD field annotation class. So from here I copy this dot class. Okay, so whenever you are accessing something from the reflection API, so this field may be there or may not be there, right? So it throws field not found exception like that we have to handle initially. No such field exception. Okay, so this is a field. If you want to store into field annotation, this is not method, right? This is a field annotation. This is a field annotation. Field annotation. So again, you can access fields of annotation methods. Okay, from the field annotation, you have field 1 and field 2. Field 1, and you can call the field 2. So if you run it, so you are getting the field values also. So basically, see, some mandatory properties sometimes we may miss, right? Sometimes we may miss. So here, if you take the field, for this field, some mandatory fields you have to pass, or for some this method, some mandatory fields you have to use. Okay. So some mandatory values, if you don't give while filling the form, you will get the errors, right? So if you, it will remind you, first of all, it will remind you that, okay, you have to pass these values. Suppose in your notebook, if you put some star, which means it reminds you it is a important. Similarly, when you put some annotation, it will remind you that, okay, something you have to pass to this method. Okay, so like that. So for field level, method level, class level, we can put the annotation. Those values, if you want, you can access. In TestNG framework, not TestNG. In our Selenium, we have page factory class. So there also we will use field level properties. Okay, through the constructor, these fields we will read and we will assign to the driver instance. How to do that, we'll see in the Selenium classes. So this is about annotations. So tomorrow we will discuss IO streams. Okay, input output streams. We will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so let me stop recording.